I'm working. I'm working. Stop it. Stop it. I'm trying to work. Ah! Interruptions. I hate interruptions. And that's one of the things that I hear so often from MSPs is that they are interrupted all day long and they can't get anything done. It's obnoxious. All right, so we're going to talk about that today. So I'm going to turn this off so we can talk a little bit about interruptions. Whew, wow. But before I get started, make sure that you like my channel, that you follow me, so that click that bell so that you're always notified when I post new videos. So interruptions, we all hate them. It's one of the biggest things that I hear when I talk to MSPs is that they cannot stay focused for very long because they're always interrupted. So today we're going to talk about 3 different ways that you can be interrupted, and then we're going to talk about how to fix that. Because the scary thing is the number of times that you are interrupted in a day is growing, and it takes you 25 minutes on average to get back into the groove of the task that you were working on. And chances are before you get into that groove, you will be interrupted 1 or 2, maybe even 3 more times during that time when you're trying to get back in the groove and get back focused. So the first way you can be interrupted is self-inflicted. So you're surfing and you just real quick, I'm going to open up Facebook and just see if anything's new. Just going to take 30 seconds. Well, that 30-second interruption is actually a 25-minute and 30-second interruption. Or we all have multi-factor. I hope we all have multi-factor turned on. And so we have to grab our phone and open up Google Authenticator or Duo or whatever we're using. And chances are when we open up our phone, we are going to mindlessly open up Twitter, open up Facebook, open up Telegram, check our email on our phone, even though Outlook is open on our desktop right there. I hope I'm not the only one that does that. So self-inflicted interruptions, I want you to be aware of it because it's very easy to always blame your team, always blame your staff for coming in and interrupting. But verdict number 1 the number 1 thing that you've got to worry about is those things that you are distracting yourself on. Now, number two is your team. They love to say, knock, knock, knock. Do you have a second? No, not really. Like, I'm busy, but I know my team needs me. And so it's a very tough balancing act. So when your team needs you, your tendency is to stop whatever you're doing and say, sure, it'll just be a second, let me help you. So remember though, that real quick conversation, even if it's a 2-minute conversation, is really 2 minutes plus the 25 minutes that it takes you to get back focused on that thing that you were working on. And sometimes part of that 25 minutes is simply thinking, now, what was I working on again? Or I know what that task was, but what was that next step that I was getting ready to take? And so those real quick questions can kill you. Okay, number 3, I want to talk about SOPs because those standard operating procedures will help you to get rid of the self-distractions. It will also help you get rid of your team distractions. So perhaps one of your standard operating procedures for starting your day needs to be putting your phone away. Maybe it's in a drawer, maybe it's across the office. I know that makes it inconvenient when you need it for multi-factor, but you probably only need multi-factor 3 or 4 times a day. Put in the multi-factor code and then put it back away in the drawer where you can't see it. You're not tempted to pick it up. If you still have notifications turned on, they will light up your drawer and you won't even know that they're there. So that's a great standard operating procedure. The other thing is that if your team is interrupting you and you have a standard operating procedure for the thing they're interrupting you for, don't answer their question. The answer needs to be, don't we have a procedure for that? Well, yeah, I just wanted to check real quick. There's no checking real quick. If the documentation is not clear, then I can help you. But the first line of defense is not come to me, the boss. Your first line of defense is that standard operating procedure. And so if you think of this like a flow chart, like, all right, you're getting interrupted. Do I have a procedure for this? If no, then maybe we need a procedure for this. If yes, so many business owners are like, well, it'll just take me a second to answer. It will probably only take you a second to answer, plus the 25 minutes to get back in the groove. But what you've just trained them is to come and ask you when they have a problem. When in reality, your flowchart is like, do we have a standard operating procedure? If yes, follow the procedure. If no, write the procedure. If you don't have what you need to write the procedure, now you are allowed to interrupt me. But even then, the better option would be write it down and bring it up during our weekly one-on-one meetings, which is why one-on-one meetings are so important. That's another thing that I often hear is, I don't have time for one-on-one meetings. Okay, but if you add up all of those times that a team member knocks on the door to ask a quick question because you don't have the SOP, or because you had the SOP, but you've trained your team not to follow it, and you add up all of those little interruptions, plus the 25 minutes to get back in flow, that is more time than it would take to simply have a one-on-one meeting. So I know I'm being a little bit meddly. I'm like asking you to kind of retool your whole company, but man, interruptions are not obnoxious. Like, how do you get stuff done with this guy flapping in your face all day long? And I mean, blows in my eye, and I can't think with that going on. And so many of you are trying to think with interruptions. So that's what I want you to do, is be disciplined enough to think, when am I interrupting myself? When is my team interrupting me, and how can I fix that? And often fixing it is either writing an SOP or forcing your team to follow the SOP that already exists. So that is it for now. Let's get rid of the crazy interruptions. I wish it was as easy as just flicking a switch. It is for the purposes of this video, but not necessarily in a day-to-day world. So take that to heart, apply that to your company, and I want you to get just a little bit better every single day. That's it for today. Have a wonderful week.